This controversial comedian gallops around like a mythical rock star pirate fairy, sprinkling us with wisdom and jokes and drugs until he got sober. Russell Brand was at one time the most talked about on-demand funny man. He was destined for superstardom, and it kind of happened for a bit. But Russell Brand is more than just a movie star. He's an artist with something to say. Sometimes you can't fully understand what he's trying to say, but whenever he's spitting his truth and trying to say something, he's usually trying to say something about how consciousness and meaning and balancing your spirit with truth and understanding is how the universe is full of beauty and injustice, and we must meditate and reflect on our inner positivity and or question authority and the establishment and the media's propaganda and agenda and superficial information that is somehow in control of the matrix and our path to enlightenment through consciousness and meaning and balance. And if you keep saying these words in any order with that accent, it actually sounds more important and deep than what he really is trying to say.
You sound like you're from London. Yeah.
But he always makes you think, and he's never afraid to let you know what he's thinking either, whether it's against YouTube guidelines or not. He's a stand-up comedian, television personality, actor, political commentator, and more. He's also an accomplished author with several books under his belt, including New York Times bestsellers My Bookie Wook and Revolution. But in recent years, his big screen theatrical output has dwindled considerably.
Right, I'm gonna probably clear off now.
Did people just get sick of his shtick? Did his shtick become too controversial? Or is it that he simply feels more at home just being himself on the YouTubes, on the internet, the World Wide Web? It's time we answer all of those questions, probably. But the main question we're gonna answer is, what the f*** happened to Russell Brand?
I know who you are, yeah, you're very, very famous.
Yeah, I am, for my sins.
But to truly understand what the f*** happened to Russell Brand, we must begin at the beginning, and the beginning began when he was born on his birthday, Essex, England. He had a bit of a different upbringing than most people. His parents split when he was just 6 years old, and he witnessed his mother battle cancer, which she did recover from. Young Russell Brand would suffer from bulimia and would leave home at the age of 16 because he couldn't get along with his mother's new boyfriend.
And that was a bit awkward, actually.
This would lead to him becoming addicted to such drugs as amphetamines, LSD, and ecstasy. He would only see his father sporadically, but when he did, his father would take his teenage son on vacations where they would visit prostitutes together.
What was your ex? Brunette. Blonde it is.
At the age of 15, Russell Brand would catch the acting bug after appearing in a school production. This would lead to him entering higher education to study the art of acting, but he was expelled after a year for drug use, the illegal kind, and he failed to attend most of his classes. This man once took a job as a mailman just so he could meet lonely women and sleep with them, while opening strangers' mail, which is a federal offense, and stealing the money inside to feed his addictions.
You know, I'll be like rimming waiters for their tips just to get my hands on a rock, you know what I mean? It's nasty.
Russell Brand was constantly on the verge of death. And it wasn't until the year 2000 when Brand would first get up on stage to perform stand-up comedy at a new talent contest where he would finish 4th and catch the eye of a comedy agent. That agent would bring Russell Brand secure hosting gigs, including as an MTV host who would tour nightclubs. Wow. Of course, Russell Brand would infamously be fired from the job after showing up to work on September 12th, 2001, dressed as Osama bin Laden, accompanied by his drug dealer.
I think in order to do this, I may have to be a little more sober.
After years of drug and alcohol abuse, including a lengthy stint as a heroin addict, Russell Brand got clean and sober in the year 2002, after his agent told him he was becoming unemployable due to his addictions. And I'm sure we are all happy to say that on December 14th, 2022, Russell Brand celebrated 20 years of being clean and sober, where he credited everyone in his life for helping him not only kick his habits, but maintain sobriety throughout the years.
7 years clean? That's what this tattoo denotes. 7 years free from drugs and alcohol.
His newfound sobriety would not only help his health, but his career. So let that be a lesson to all of you guys. His career started taking off right as he put the needles down. That's my way of saying don't do drugs, I guess. Russell Brand was able to tour with his stand-up, but he would also really delve into that hosting life, with a very lucrative gig as the host of Big Brother's Big Mouth, which was a wrap-up show for the UK version of Big Brother. After 3 years of hosting the show, he decided it was time to say goodbye. But he would do so with class, thanking the producers for taking a chance on a former twerp junkie, as he called himself. Russell Brand would continue to host TV specials such as Russell Brand's Got Issues and the BAFTA-nominated Russell Brand's Ponderland, while also starting to build up his acting resume with roles in films like St. Trinian's and the Christina Ricci starring Penelope in 2008, while also appearing in British TV productions such as The Abbey and Cold Blood. But of course, the reason why we are all here, the reason why most of us, at least the Americans, ever became aware of Mr. Russell Brand, was when he was cast as the philandering, former drug-addicted spiritual rock star Aldous Snow, a character he was born to play, in the hilarious film Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is one of the best comedies to come out in the last 20 years or so, I guess.
I don't know, for me, like 1 week of it was like it's like going on holiday with, I don't know, I wouldn't say Hitler, but certainly.
This film came out around the time when rated R comedies were seeing a pretty solid resurgence, thanks to the massive success of Judd Apatow's work. And with this film, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, we were not only introduced to his character, but to the real Russell Brand, in a way. He plays a weirdly flamboyant, yet hilarious person who dressed and spoke unlike anything we had really ever experienced this side of the Atlantic Ocean.
If I wanted to see you act badly, I'd just watch a TV show, which obviously I can't now because it's been cancelled.
He was almost too good in this part because he seemed to be stuck playing this kind of person, who is basically himself. But he's great at it.
Imagine an African white Christ from space.
It seriously is one of the finest comedic performances in recent memory. And in the hands of anyone else, this wild and crazy character could have felt very, unbelievable and like a cartoon. But Russell makes him human, while never losing that comedic edge, making every scene even more funny than the last. He is what we call a scene stealer.
Congratulations, well done. Well done.
From there, it seemed like Russell Brand was the new It Boy in Hollywood, because that same year he would host the 2008 MTV Video Music Awards, which of course led to controversy when Russell Brand called Britney Spears the female Jesus, while also poking fun at the intelligence of George W. Bush. He would also make jokes about the Jonas Brothers and their purity rings, and those quote-unquote mean jokes led to Russell Brand receiving death threats online, because that's what happens now. But none of that really matters because the show's ratings grew 20%, which saw MTV ask Russell Brand to come back and host the following year's show, which he did, and the ratings got even bigger.
It's better that you've apologised, because now we can start to rebuild.
Brand would close out 2008 by starring opposite Adam Sandler in his PG-rated Bedtime Stories, where he would play Adam Sandler's best friend. Oftentimes, the best friend role is a thankless one, especially in these types of comedies, But Brand's brand of comedy really helped endear the audience to him. He was crazy and kooky, but in a way that made him so lovable. And this success in the United States of America would allow Russell Brand to expand his stand-up audience, as he would film his first US-based comedy special for Comedy Central titled Russell Brand in New York. It was filmed in New York. And of course, it's hilarious. Here's a little hilarious bit.
Hey, come on, just get on the horse, show it you're the boss, show it you're the boss. Am I the boss? He goes horse riding every day, I've only been once.
In 2010, Russell Brand would return to the role that made him a household name, Aldous Snow.
I'm Aldous Snow, the rock star.
The character he played in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, in the comedy spin-off Get Him to the Greek. The film would receive decent reviews, with most noting the chemistry between Russell Brand and co-star Jonah Hill, but many people criticized this movie for testing the limits of taste.
Oh, he means the heroin. His bum's all full of heroin.
Doesn't mean that.
Personally, I found the film funny enough. It made me laugh, but it was somewhat forgettable, unlike Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is not forgettable. One does not forget Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And in this film, Get Him to the Greek, or rather on the cutting room floor of this film, Get Him to the Greek, in a deleted scene, Russell Brand's character and pop star Katy Perry are involved in a kiss. And apparently that kiss was very magical, and Katy Perry says that after the scene she was giddy and childlike.
I hear from a source.
She said that on-screen deleted scene kiss helped her make the first move on Russell Brand a year later, when she saw him at the MTV Video Music Awards and got his attention by throwing a bottle at his head, cause that's how you get the men, ladies. After a short 4 months of dating, the couple announced their engagement, eventually marrying in a lavish Hindu ceremony later that year. It was another one of those Hollywood couples that made us go, him? And her? Really? Them? Together? Okay, sure,
In my defense,
No.
And just like most Hollywood marriages, just 1 year and 2 months later, the couple announced they decided that they were gonna have a divorce, saying that they still loved each other, but with their schedules it was impossible to see each other. Of course, later it came out that Russell Brand was the one who ended the relationship through a text message.
what you did was very spiteful, but it was also very brave and very honest, and I respect you for doing that.
Because apparently the two just led very different lives. She enjoyed going out and being a firework and having a good time, while Russell Brand had said goodbye to that type of partying lifestyle years ago. Of course, the relationship wasn't without its headline-making news, like the time in 2010 when Russell Brand was arrested for assaulting a paparazzi after the man in question was blocking Katy Perry from leaving their house to get to the airport. Those paparazzo, they can be vicious. But Russell Brand would stay busy. He would have voice roles in the first 2 Despicable Me films, as well as appear in Minions: The Rise of Gru. In 2010, he would appear in the Shakespeare adaptation of The Tempest, and I had always thought that his speech pattern always seemed very Shakespearean. Maybe it was his accent, I don't know.
I know not where I'd hide me head. John St. Cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. Hey!
So this Shakespeare material, it was so splendidly fit for his skills. He would then lend his unique vocals to the animated hit film Hop, voicing the Easter Bunny, which is a huge responsibility for any actor to take on this kind of legendary role. And if he screwed this one up, he would have ruined the lives of children everywhere. Well, at least the Christian kids who like chocolate.
Alright, because of God and everything.
Later, in 2011, Russell Brand would finally get a chance to headline a big Hollywood film, when Hollywood, for some reason, remade the 1981 Dudley Moore classic, Arthur.
The Upper East Side lay in absolute ruin. The machines have taken over as usual. Malevolent toaster!
Sadly, this unnecessary remake did not live up to the original, and was not a worthwhile endeavor, as the film only made $48 million off a $40 million budget. And that's before marketing costs, and you gotta double it and do like math and stuff. It lost a lot of money, or didn't make a lot of money. It just no money. There's not enough money.
$20,000 of money.
$20,000 is the bid.
Normal people said that they simply hated Russell Brand's character. He was not lovable like the other times he played characters. He was just awful, unlikable. Russell Brand would later comment, saying that his choice to star in this film, Arthur, was a mistake, and it's one of the biggest failures of his life. Does that include getting addicted to heroin?
We're gonna have a party. Tired of being sad now.
Well, the Razzie Awards, they seem to agree with those critics and those normal people and with Russell Brand, because he was nominated for Worst Actor. But of course, he would get some love from those Teen Choice Awards, who nominated him for Choice Actor, but teens, they are not responsible enough to make those kinds of difficult choices. In 2012, Russell Brand would feature in another box office disappointment, the big screen adaptation of the hit Broadway play, Rock of Ages, which on paper should have been a huge hit.
You're a candle in the window on a cold, dark winter's night.
And look, this is in no way a good movie. But as a fan of 80s rock music, I can genuinely say that I enjoyed parts of it. I did think Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin had some pretty good chemistry. They even got to kiss, which is really awkward now for so many reasons.
Yeah, what? Yeah, yes, actually, what?
But yeah, Russell Brand, he's pretty dang good in this one. He plays an 80s nightclub assistant manager. It's a role that Brand was perfectly suited for. He would then do that hosting thing again and take the stage at the MTV Movie Awards in 2012, which this person here talking to you, just so happened to be in the audience that year. Way up in the back, but I was there. I won a radio contest from the Kid Craddock in the Morning Show, rest in peace, and they flew me to the MTV Movie Awards. And I was really, really excited to be there, but do you know who was not excited to be there? Russell Brand.
I'm gonna go and get some massage oil off Travolta. Michael, meet me in the dressing room.
Now, I don't know what it felt like on TV, but being there in real life, I could really feel how uncomfortable Russell Brand was being there. It seemed like he just wanted to get this over with, quickly rushing up to the mic to introduce the next celebrity and then just leaving. I was like, shouldn't he have told a joke or something? Done a skit? He wasn't doing anything special. He wasn't even trying. He was done handing out unholy golden popcorn idols. It was now time for Brand to rebrand himself and kick another drug called show business. So yeah, of course, at this time you can start to see Russell Brand's theatrical output begin to diminish significantly. Yet his tabloid stories did not. He would make headlines for being arrested in New Orleans for criminal damage after a photographer, a paparazzi, accused Russell Brand of grabbing his cell phone and throwing it through a window, to which Russell Brand replied in the most Russell Brand way imaginable. He said that he took the man's phone as a tribute to Steve Jobs, who had recently passed away, saying that he could not bear see anyone use an iPhone in such a way. It was disrespectful to his memory and something. I don't know. He would then go on tour with his new stand-up, Messiah Complex, and that would go around the globe. Really big hit, really funny show. He points out things that are funny because they're true.
If someone tells me what to do, I sort of say, well, fuck off. That is one thing I won't be doing.
And that same year of 2012, he would be kicked out of the GQ Awards after being given the Oracle Award, where in his speech he would talk about how Hugo Boss, who was sponsoring the event, had rose to prominence after making the uniforms for the Nazis. There was actually an internet online poll involving several celebrities, and people chose Russell Brand as the celebrity with the most negative influence on political debate. with over 60% of people polled saying that they genuinely disliked Russell Brand. And we all know that online internet polls can always be trusted 100%, and I saw that on an online internet poll, so yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to listen to that, but then I just carried on living my life.
Russell Brand also made an infamous appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe, where he hilariously pointed out the behind-the-scenes Facebook tweeting lunacy of the news station, and more. Many people on the World Wide Web said that he put them in their place, whatever that means. But he did take over the show, leaving the hosts helpless as he riffed on the headlines and pointed out mainstream media hypocrisy. You know, he did his Russell Brand thing. It was pretty much political performance art. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
That's the problem with current affairs. You forget about what's important. You allow the agenda to be decided by superficial information. What am I saying? What am I talking about? Don't think about what I'm wearing. These things are redundant.
I'm distracted.
Superficial.
Okay.
Russell even referred to the interview as casual objectification. Tongue-in-cheek, of course. Or was it? In the past 10 years, Russell Brand has only appeared in a handful of projects. The Diablo Cody-directed Paradise in 2013, that critics said all involved probably wish to forget. Where in 2016, he would take on the role that I bet he feels he was born to play. God, in a film starring Nicolas Cage, directed by Larry Charles, called Army of One, which is based on a true story of a man who believes God told him to go capture Osama bin Laden, armed with nothing but a samurai sword. And the power of God.
What's this now? What's this? It's not Aladdin. I'm not a genie.
But let's be honest, when you combine Nicolas Cage, Larry Charles, and Russell Brand, it's fairly impossible to screw up that type of cinematic combination. And this movie, Army of One, is actually kind of an interesting flick. It's just pure insanity. He would then voice Creek in that Trolls movie, followed by playing the Guru in the British film The Fight. Then he would show up in the hit The Rock Dwayne Johnson-fronted HBO show Ballers, where he would play the eccentric CEO of an extreme sports company. Russell would follow that up by what appears to be a horribly looking children's film called Four Kids and It in 2020. I know nothing about this film, and I will never know anything about this film, so let's move on, shall we? Oh my god, it looks horrible. What the f***? Then in 2022, I think a lot of us were a bit surprised to see Russell Brand appear as a part of the ensemble cast of Kenneth Branagh's Death on the Nile. And in all honesty, this is a role unlike anything he's ever done before. Because let's admit it, most of his films he plays variations of himself. But in this movie, Death on the Nile, he plays a more dramatic character. And he's really good in it.
I'm not a fool. I knew she was settling for me.
I would like Russell Brand to do more of this. But the question at hand is always, what the f*** happened to this person named Russell Brand? And for Russell Brand, he always seems more at ease as himself. He was able to find love with wife Laura Gallagher, with whom he has 2 daughters, and he has found a home on the internet, giving his views to the masses with his unfiltered takes on the world. This led to him launching his own YouTube channel, where he would spout off conspiracy theories, which helped him grow a massive audience. As of right now, I think he's over 6 million subscribers, and rising. I believe now he calls his show Stay Free with Russell Brand, because he's always trying to stay free, whether that's to free his mind or to free himself from oppression. I don't know, just staying free. I like it.
Oh, right, yeah, I understand. It's like positive visualization. I read a book on that once.
And unlike most celebrities, Russell Brand has no allegiance to any political party in any country. He claims to be on a journey of enlightenment and truth. And that can pretty much mean whatever you want it to mean. And that's a beautiful thing. He is not afraid to go after anyone or anything, whether it be Donald Trump or Anthony Fauci or Joe Biden or Justin Trudeau or Joe Rogan Edward Snowden, you know, all those people. He'll say whatever he wants about them, whether it be praise or criticism. Constructive criticism. He tackles topics that cover spiritualism, relationships, and current events. And Brand seems to stand out amongst other online talking heads. No matter what his view or opinion is, he always seems to come from a place of love, no matter how controversial the topic may be. Of course, his controversial and unapproved views would lead to YouTube pulling one of his videos for alleged misinformation about something called COVID-19, which would lead to Russell Brand to also start to upload on the more right-wing leaning social network called Rumble. And it appears here on YouTube or in Rumble and all those other social media network things, that's where Russell Brand seems to be most comfortable. Sitting there at his desk, talking to his fans, both old and new, you know, all 6 million of them. And to bring it full circle, there is a scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall that I think perfectly sums up everything that is Russell Brand, where Sarah Marshall points out all of his tattoos and reveals that each tattoo represents a different ideology and that they're all in conflict with each other. And that seems to be where Russell Brand has found his sweet spot, saying things that make sense to some and saying things that are complete nonsense to other that, you know, is a complete contradiction but also reveals certain truth, you know? I don't know. I'm talking like Russell Brand now, oh my gosh. But what these tattoos are really trying to say is that he's a citizen of the world and that he wants to explore all spiritual awakenings of all types, and that he believes that they can exist peacefully. You know, he's like a walking, talking, coexisting bumper sticker man. And that's a beautiful thing.
I'm a tricky little swine, I'm a trickster. I'm a raven, I'm a playful coyote. Looking for mischief.
And now, I shall read a section from his best-selling novel, My Bookie, Wook. Even as a junkie, I stayed true to veganism. I shall have heroin, but I shan't have a hamburger. What a sexy little paradox. Please forgive me for the worst Russell Brand impression ever, but you gotta try.
That stupid English voice, was that me?
Unfortunately, yes.
But yeah, his whole existence is one big, beautiful, sexy contradiction, and I love it. And he has always been a man to court controversy with a good conspiracy theory. Which, did you guys know that the creation of the words conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory in itself, as it was designed vocabulary to discredit anyone who questions anything that they don't want us to question? So the words conspiracy theory is a conspiracy theory, oh my gosh. But yeah, it doesn't really matter if you like or agree with Mr. Brand's quote-unquote conspiracy theories, because what he represents is so much more important. He is an artist who has stepped away from the biz to do his own thing. And his own thing is to simply think for himself and to share those thoughts with you and me. Whether those thoughts get banned or censored or whatever, we always need a wise-ass court jester to say the silliest of silly things that are based in both nonsense and truth, which is what stand-up comedy is supposed to do. So yeah, he has gone full circle and returned to the world of stand-up comedy in a way, only this time he's sitting down and sober. But most importantly, it seems that Russell Brand genuinely loves what he does. And that's all that really matters. Which is why nobody should give a f*** about what the f*** happened to Russell Brand. Because he's doing just fine.
I like him, that's quite moving.